Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of Formula 1 2019 Career Mode. Today we go to our engine supplier's home Grand Prix at Italy and potentially our team's home Grand Prix next season if we go to Ferrari here for the Italian Grand Prix. As we come straight to qualifying once again, we got through Q1, we got through Q2, and we made it into Q3, so I was pretty confident that we could maybe get around like a 7th to 8th place qualifying effort here in Italy. And now as we cut straight through to our attempt here in Q3, it was actually going to be a pretty decent lap. It certainly wasn't the best. We actually had some rain falling throughout this whole session, so I made a lap pretty early just to maybe get a better lap in, as it was drier than the end of the session. Now as we come through out of the last corner, at this point Valtteri Bottas was on the pole for the moment. Now as we would come through to cross the line, we went P5 at the moment, but obviously that was not going to stick, and we would drop down to P7 here as Hamilton will start on pole as we get ready to start the Italian Grand Prix. Hopefully we can move forwards here.
It's race day here in Italy once again. Monza, home to so many records. The smallest winning margin, for example. Do you remember in 1971, Peter Gethin beat Ronnie Peterson to the line by 1/100th of a second. There were 40 overtakes for the lead alone in 1965, and Kimi Raikkonen clocked a record top speed of 230 miles per hour here, just over a decade ago. So there's a lot to live up to then for all of our drivers today. We're 12 miles northeast of Milan for today's Grand Prix at a Monza circuit where we can expect top speeds of around 215 miles per hour. 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with 7 of those coming in the form of chicanes, and with a good slipstream and DRS open, there should be plenty of opportunity for some passing here today. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is Anthony Davidson. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and starting alongside him P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Leclerc, Pierre Gasly, and Butler, the Rainmaster, Perez, Weber, and Max Verstappen, Sainz, Grosjean, Daniel Ricciardo, and Albon, Russell, Magnussen, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Daniel Kvyat. Kubica and Kimi Raikkonen finishes off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
This is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix. Let's give them a race worth
I'll
watching.
do my best to do that, Jeff. Thankfully, I don't have to take any fuel out of the car because we actually did the race strategy program, so I don't have to worry about that now as we get ready to go green here for the Italian Grand Prix. Obviously, the formation lap comes through. Butler starting just in front of us after his move to McLaren. McLaren now the 4th best team on the grid after now, so like I said, Butler went to McLaren, Magnussen on Renault now as we get ready to go green here for the Italian Grand Prix. It's 5 red lights. Hamilton out front now as it's lights out, and we are underway here for the Italian Grand Prix. Can Ferrari get a home win now? Sebastian Vettel the closest one to the lead to be able to potentially do that, but now it's Hamilton leading over Valtteri Bottas and Vettel, who are side by side for the 2nd position as we come through the first few corners. There behind you got Charles Leclerc right behind that battle between Bottas and Vettel, ready to pounce now as they go through the right bend. Leclerc not quite able to get back on their gearboxes. Hamilton is out and away he goes. He's trying to get out of here as quick as possible. Now as we come through, we had to actually drop down to the 10th position on this opening start. It wasn't a very good start for myself now as we go down through the left and right hander. Max Verstappen is one of the guys that got past me on that opening start as he started down in, I think, 10th position. Not a good qualifying effort for him. Now as we come through the right-handers, now down into another right-hander right behind Verstappen and Perez and Magnussen, who's having a great run. Renault is the 2nd worst team on the grid in our career mode right now, but Magnussen is inside the top 10 now as Perez moves to the left-hand side trying to make a move on Magnussen as we go down towards this chicane. Here's they're going to go side by side through it, and somehow no one makes any contact as we close in right on the back of the gearbox of Verstappen. We look to the left-hand side as we head down the back straightaway, as well as we try to look to the left-hand side of Perez as we go down towards the final corner at this point. Magnussen just in front now as we come through the final carousel. They're going a little bit wide, a little bit of oversteer now as we exit the corner though, but we make a little bit of contact there with Verstappen. I made a big move. Didn't even know he was on my right side now, but we look to the right-hand side and past Perez as we go down the front straightaway. A great opening lap here in Italy. Very thrilling to say the least. Now as we go down into turns 1, Perez just about sent it up my inside now as we come through out of the turn 2, trying to get to Magnussen as we came through now a lap later on lap 3. We had gotten to the back of Magnussen, and now we look to the right-hand side of him as we go down towards turns 1. Behind us is Lucas Weber now as he's going to move up the inside as we go down towards turns 1 and turns 2, but we hold him off and now take over P7. A pretty dramatic opening few laps to start this Italian Grand Prix at the moment. Now Magnussen trying to make the run back to me as we head down towards the chicane there, as he is going to make a move, but we go a little bit defensive and we do hang on to the position through the corner. So hopefully we can hold on to the 7th position at the moment as we go down into the right-hander. But Weber, he would be able to close up on my gearbox as we came through the front straightaway. Now on lap 4, he wouldn't be able to make a move to my right-hand side as we head down the straightaway. Behind us is Magnussen and Perez side by side as well as we go down towards turns 1. Magnussen surprisingly doesn't make the move there. A little bit of a lockup from Weber now as we exit turn 2, heading down the straightaway. So he takes over that 7th position as we drift back to P8 now. That Mercedes powered car is certainly paying off for these Racing Point drivers of Weber and Perez right now as we go down towards the chicane. Up ahead, it's Butler with with a Ferrari and a Red Bull battling it out there as we have some oversteer on the exit of the corner. Now as we come down the back straightaway though with some DRS on Weber at this point. But up ahead, Butler's taking it 3 wide and he's going to go spinning now through the chicane and he damages his front wing, and that's a big blow to Devin Butler here with his new team at McLaren, his 2nd race with that team now. As behind us, Perez, he tried to make a move but couldn't make it happen, and now on the front straightaway we would make a move to the right side of Weber. Perez right here in the battle now as we go down towards turns 1, and he's going to try and make a move up the inside as we go down into the corner, but we're going to hold off for the moment in through turns 2 in P6. And that was actually the first crash I've seen in Formula 1 2019. It would be nice to see the AI maybe make some more mistakes here and there, but now as it came through on lap 7, Perez, he would have the DRS and he would be looking to the right hand side of me as we went down towards turns 1, and there goes Weber, his teammate, up the inside of him as they go down into turns 1. A wild start here in this Italian Grand Prix. It was certainly a tough battle to hold these Mercedes powered cars off. They just had so much speed down the straightaways. It was a tough battle. Now as Verstappen still sits P9 behind. He hasn't really done a good job working his way through the field. So unfortunate for Verstappen getting beat by Gasly. That's just not what you like to see. Now as he would close in on me though, as we had a little bit of oversteer going into the little chicane there, and that gets Verstappen right on my gearbox now as we exit the corner, and he is certainly going to have a chance to make a pass and run, or a big run down the straightaway. He is going to have help with DRS. We have DRS as well, but he is right on my gearbox. He looks to my left-hand side, and I'm not going to be battling him too much. Obviously, he's in a much faster car, so we're just going to brake a little bit early, let Verstappen take the position, and now we drop down to the 9th spot. Behind us, we had our teammate at this moment of Roman Grosjean battling it out with Magnussen for 10th, and as we came through on lap 9, we had lost a ton of time to the cars ahead with these tires. My left rear tire was destroyed, and I had to come in a little bit early due to that, and as you can see just how much time I lost because of this left rear tire. So we come into the pit lane a lap or 2 early to make our first and only pit stop. It's going to be the medium tire that we are putting on, and obviously this should last us to the end of the race if I don't abuse these tires too much. I certainly abused them too much on this first run with the soft tire, so hopefully we don't have that happen here for the second and final run here in the Italian Grand Prix. Hopefully we can still get a top 10. We certainly have some speed, but just didn't quite seem to have quite as fast as the car that I had in qualifying, but hopefully we can find a way to get another 8th place finish, I guess. Now as Devin Butler's behind me there in the 20th position, a rough go for him right now. Like I said, obviously he made this move to McLaren just a few episodes, or last episode in the Belgian Grand Prix, and now here he is having a rough day in Italy there as we would come through on lap 12, passing a bunch of cars in the pit lane. As we move up to P13 up ahead, we had the the Racing Point of Weber coming out of the pit lane. Verstappen came out of the pit lane well ahead of me, so I knew that we weren't really going to catch those guys, and Perez came out as well in front of me as we sit P9 as other cars that came to the pit lane now has come to lap 15. So certainly going to be a tough feat to catch these cars up ahead. It was looking like maybe we're just going to have to settle in for P9 because I just did not have the speed to run these guys down. And now it's came to lap 18, still in the 9th position though. And we have a caution up ahead now with 10 laps to go. And it's Sergio Perez in the Racing Point having a mechanical issue there. You see him slowing way off the pace. And that's going to be our first retirement from the Italian Grand Prix as we come through to pass him on the left-hand side. Now moving into the 8th position here in the final 10 laps of the Italian Grand Prix. And this kind of put me once again on an island of my own at this point. We've had this situation many times this season already where we've just been put in on an island of our own. Now it's cut straight to lap 20. It was Weber and Verstappen continuing to battle it out. Verstappen surprisingly wasn't actually able to really drive away from Lucas Weber, so he was still within range of being able to attack Verstappen there. As you see, Weber on the leaderboard does make the pass on Max Verstappen, and then Verstappen passes him back as he went down into the chicane here. So at this point, just managing my race again. We kind of had this situation many times now where we just get on an island of my own, and then we just kind of manage the car to the end of this race, because I was pushing pretty hard, but I was just having a tough time with the ERS management in this race, and it was certainly not really playing into my favor. So now we cut straight to 3 to go, still running here in P8, now 7.5-ish seconds behind Verstappen as we came through into the next final corner again, approaching 2 to go at this point. Verstappen had once again gotten past Weber as we came through. So obviously not going to catch the guys up ahead, but now as we came through across the line, hitting 2 to go, we'd come around, do another quick lap, and come to the white flag here in the Italian Grand Prix. Weber once again had gotten past Max Verstappen at this point as we went down towards turns 1. Overall though, it has been a pretty solid race. It was a wild start to say the least. The first 7-8 laps were pretty wild to start this Italian Grand Prix, and now here we find ourselves once again in P8. I think we finished 8th like 4 or 5 times this season. It looks like we're about to add that to the list now as Carlos Sainz sits P9 here as we come through down towards the chicane for the final time. And once again, Lewis Hamilton has dominated the Italian Grand Prix. He has dominated this whole season, and he is likely going to add on to that list with another victory as we come through out of the corner. Lewis Hamilton, sure enough, comes out of the final corner. He will win the Italian Grand Prix, and it would be Sebastian Vettel, his closest championship contender, in the 2nd position. Valtteri Bottas would come through to get P3 as we came down into the chicane here for the final time in the Italian Grand Prix. Now 9 seconds behind Weber as he had gotten passed by Verstappen. Some oversteer on the exit of the corner. It does not matter now as we head down the back straightaway for the final time here in Italy. Still a pretty decent run overall. We once again beat our teammate Roman Grosjean, who has just fallen off so much here recently in our career mode. Now as we come through on the exit of the last corner, going a little bit wide there, and now we come through out of the final corner. We're going to get P8 here in the Italian Grand Prix.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Certainly would have been awesome if we had a little more pace in the car to where we could have battled with Weber there towards the end, and even Verstappen, who just had a rough go, and he is somehow, I think it said, no, he did not beat his teammate. I was just looking at the standings there for a second. So Gasly still does get the best of his teammate. There you see the 2 drivers at the bottom, Butler, who crashed, and Perez, who had a retirement, as our teammate Grosjean gets P11. So still no points finish for Grosjean. He's having a rough go here recently in our career mode, so hopefully he can step it up a little bit to help us with the constructors standings. That would certainly be nice, as our rep actually went down with Haas, which kind of surprised me. It went up with the other teams, and then it just kind of stayed put with Ferrari. Obviously, like I said, the goal is to get the Ferrari bar halfway. If we can get it to halfway by the end of the season, then I think we can definitely consider making a switch to go to Ferrari for the next season, in our second season. So as always, though, if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very, very appreciated. So in the next one, we go to one of my favorite courses on the schedule, Singapore. I love that track so much. I love that city. It looks so beautiful. So hopefully we can have a good run there, as we do have some potential upgrades coming that could put us ahead of McLaren at Singapore. So I'll see you guys in the next episode for the Singapore Grand Prix. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.